emailing and trying to all be present all at the same time. So it's been a morning to say the least. But I hope you all are doing well. I thought I'd start off with just checking in, making sure everyone's doing all right. Like this, I think everyone. I mean, I can only speak from my experiences, but staff, students, faculty, administrators, everyone's just tired. I think everyone wants to go back to normal, and it's starting to get to people. So, you know, just making sure everyone's doing okay. If at any point you're frustrated, you're upset, you're angry, you're tired, um, I don't want to speak for Mark, but you can reach out to me. I think Mark would be in the same boat because there's times I need that too. So I just wanted to, make that known. Um, I just got a couple announcements. The first one, tomorrow's our lobby day. I don't know if student trustee might speak on that a little bit, but just a reminder to folks, the district has set up a nice little schedule given the circumstances. So it's going to start at 8:45 for a little kind of quick tutorial of what a virtual lobby day is going to feel like. And then first speakers at 9. So I know our student senate president, Naomi, posted that meeting link, but if anyone's interested, I can get you that schedule and that Zoom link as well. I'm going to comb my hair for the first time in who knows how long and not wear a hat. So y'all don't laugh at my hair. Let's see what else. I wrote down some notes. The summer schedule's out. So for those of you that were hoping to take some summer classes, take a look at that schedule, take a look at your registration time. Speaking of summer, still not sure yet about what the CLD and the hub can look like in summer and or fall yet. Still having those preliminary discussions. I know Chancellor's Cabinet is discussing options and possibilities and barriers and all that fun stuff. So the moment I hear when we can reopen the CLD and Student Center at some capacity, I will let this board and Senate know. Other than that, I don't really have any other updates. Yeah, that's really about it. So with that, I will turn it back over to Mark. Thank you.
Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I ask Brett a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Brett, do you have any information of when election packets will come out?
Thank you. Yes, great question. I had it in my notes and just didn't speak on it. So Monday the 1st is the first day a student can apply for a position. That's going to be done on a Google form that we will have on our website on Monday, hopefully 8 a.m. Might be like 9:30, depending on how things go. But and that will be open for 3 weeks. So I think the last day to apply is March 22nd. I'll put all those dates in the chat here when I'm done. But yeah, stay tuned for that. That will be on the website. I will email it out to folks. And then we can kind of talk about both this board and Senate, how we can promote that. But yeah, that will begin on Monday. So it's coming quick, almost too quick. But great question.
Awesome. Thank you for clarifying that. And then also, if you want to, we can go ahead and post that. Can we post that up on IG as well as the website, Brett?
We can do like a flyer. We have to do like a tiny URL for the Google form. I'll be the first to admit my tiny URL skills are not the greatest, but we can sit down and figure it out. But yeah, we can heavily promote on Instagram and TikTok, and Discord, and wherever we can find students, right? We're trying to get the message out.
Okay. And another, just real quick, but the question I have for you is as the chair and the president, if I'm gonna run, I can't post anything on Instagram, even though I have access to it. I can't. So it's gonna be like entirely up to you.
Yeah, that's fine. Yes, in order of like transparency and everything. Yeah, if you're planning on running for office and you happen to have access to like the ASB social media account, then yeah, even if you're saying just vote or just run, yeah, you need to be transparent and not participate in that. So Yeah, I will handle that, or I'll find someone to help me on that. So good
Okay.
point. Thank you.
Just wanted to make sure
Uh,
that it's not out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I also won't be running, so that's just I'll be transferring, so I can help also.
Awesome. Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and move on to public comment. This time is reserved for members of the public to address the club's events board on issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken, nor extended discussion of any items not on the agenda. The ASB Clubs and Events Board may briefly respond to statements made for questions posed. However, for further information, please contact ASBK President for the item of discussion to be placed on future agenda. Do we have any public comment at this time? Check chat, none chat. All right, and seeing no public comment, we will go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda, which is appointments and swearing in. We do not have any appointments and swearing in. We'll move on to unfinished business. There is no unfinished business. Then we'll go ahead and move on to new business. Do we need to make a motion to switch 10.1 and 10.2?
Technically, yes.
So if I can get somebody to make a motion to switch to 10.1.
I move to suspend the orders of the day to change the agenda to go to 10.2.
Seconded.
Okay, it's moved by Lori, it's seconded by Naomi. So we'll go ahead and go to item 10.2, student trustee Tony. This time shall be reserved to discuss any questions for the student trustee.
I think you have to do a
Oh, roll call.
or something.
If I'm not mistaken, there's been a motion that's been seconded. Brett, can you?
As long as there's no objections.
Yeah, hearing none, seeing none, something like that.
Is there any objections for moving the order of business today? Okay, hearing none, seeing no objections, we'll go ahead and start off with item 10.2. Student trustee. This time shall be reserved to discuss any questions for the student trustee Tony. Tony, you can have the floor if you'd like to freely speak.
Hi, everyone. My name's Tony Schiffmeyer. For those of you who don't know who I am, I think there might be a couple people, but my name's Tony. I'm the student trustee, and I represent the Los Rios students on the board of trustees, and I also chair the student advisory committee. And so I'm just here to kind of visit today and see how everything's going. I think we can start with just general questions, and then I can talk a little bit more about what some things that we're doing as student leaders on the district level. But yeah, are there any general questions, I guess, before we get started?
Can you tell us about lobby day?
Yes, I will talk about lobby day. So I guess I'll just jump into that now. So yeah, lobby day is happening tomorrow. So if that is something you are interested in joining, I highly recommend that you come join us. We're going to start, we'll have a few sessions with speakers and that sort of thing. And then all the campuses will go and they'll start lobbying with actual legislators. So if you're interested in joining, definitely reach out to Brett and he can get you that link and you can join. The topic for lobby day this year is financial aid reform. So we'll be talking specifically about the Cal Grant modernization proposal, which will just focus on a proposal to make Cal Grants more equitable, especially for students who are low income and that sort of thing, because the current number, I'm sure many of you have had some struggles with financial aid in the past. But basically, this just aims to make it more equitable, specifically for California community college students to be able to have access to financial aid. And that's what we'll be lobbying on. If you don't have experience lobbying, this is a great time to get in some practice so you don't have to feel nervous. You just go in and you talk about why financial aid is needed. You come in with stories, financial aid stories, what your experience has been as a student, and why you think that this proposal should be considered by legislators to go to pass. So it's just you having a conversation with legislators and talking about why this is important. And yeah, are there any other questions on Lobby Day?
I have two more if nobody else does. I don't know. Do we have students signed up to lobby, and do we have legislative appointments?
Brett, maybe that's something you can answer. I'm not sure about the ARC schedule specifically.
Naomi, you
I
wanna
can
take
answer
one?
that if Brett
Yeah.
doesn't.
Go ahead, Naomi.
Mark, yeah, okay. So we actually had appointments scheduled for the first. The student advisory committee had picked a date. We had meetings scheduled for that day, and then we also have one meeting scheduled for tomorrow. But the majority of our meetings were scheduled on the original date that was chosen for Lobby Day, which was last Wednesday, I think, or Thursday. Last Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, there was a little bit of so the original date that we forwarded for approval ended up being denied. So that would have been last Wednesday. So there's a little bit of confusion on whether or not it was on the whether or not it was approved. So there were some legislative appointments made early. But yeah, so it sounds like there will be one legislative appointment for tomorrow though.
Tony, may I ask a question? Do you know who our meeting is for tomorrow? Who we're meeting with?
Oh, so that's my question for Naomi, because I don't oversee the ARC scheduling
Okay.
specifically.
Naomi, do you know who we're meeting with tomorrow?
I can look that up briefly if you give me a moment, but off the top of my head, I cannot remember.
Sure.
So do we need people to sign up to lobby?
We have a few people. We have Ramses, myself, and Oscar will all be there, as well as Jacob. And I think that's who we have for tomorrow. I don't think there's anyone else. Sorry, I'm just trying to get to that Lobby Day appointment section.
I think Stacy Burrows is there too. I think. If you didn't mention them already.
Stacy was at a previous one. I remember. I didn't know if they were scheduled for this one or not.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. Okay. So our appointment will be with a staffer for Senator Steve Glazer, a Democrat. And these were all chosen because these are senators that are sitting on the education committee, higher education committee.
Awesome. Thank you. Is there any other questions?
Okay. So if there is one more topic I would want to cover. So as some of you may be aware, at the beginning of the year, we did establish the district-wide work groups. So those were established, but because they were established by our group specifically, and it's not an ongoing thing. The term for that will be ending at the end of this year. I'm hoping to get it on the next SAC agenda to be able to extend that. So hopefully the next group will continue these work groups. So I was just hoping for some, if you've been involved in a work group, I was hoping to just get some general feedback from some students about if you've been involved. How has that been going? Do you think these are useful? Is there anything we can do to improve them? Do you think that they should continue for the next year? And yeah, that's just any feedback.
Yeah, so I can speak that I was on the Black Lives Matter or Basic Needs, excuse me. I'm sorry, I was on the Basic Needs district work group. I think that these district work groups are amazing. And I know that we've had some trials and tribulations as far as, you know, connecting with other student leaders and stuff due to this whole pandemic and going on virtual world and stuff. And I know everybody's schedules kind of conflicted. However, I do think that we need to continue the district work groups to continue the progress and the work that we're doing. You as a student trustee have done an amazing job trying to represent, you know, the whole district. So thank you for that. I think maybe if we had more of a structured time and dates, I think that it would be more beneficial and I think it would work out better. I hope that makes sense. I know that I was having some scheduling conflicts with some of the other student leaders as far as the basic needs one. And if I'm not mistaken, Naomi, if I'm not mistaken, I think she was on the Black Lives Matter district
Sure.
group. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was the ARC POI, or I guess still am, for the Black Lives Matter task force. And I'd like to second something that Mark said. Well, a few things. First of all, I do think these are a great idea, but I do think that some more structure may be making it more effective. Just like, you know, each committee or each task force has to meet said number of times during the semester, just so that, you know, it gives a little bit more structure. I know that for this Black Lives Matter task force, it felt very ambiguous to a lot of the members and to the POIs exactly what we were supposed to do, what the intended purpose was for this specific task force. So we were a little bit lost in the beginning, and to a lesser degree now. But just seconding what Mark said, really, about having some kind of regular, you know, each committee needs to meet like 2 times a semester or something like that, so that they can really meet their full potential there.
Awesome.
Okay, that is very valuable feedback. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'll be sure to add that conversation to the next SAC agenda. So just we can talk about that and see what we want to do moving forward. Another thing I do want to mention is I got a reply for those of you who were at the last SAC meeting and heard the conversations regarding the next draft for this coming term's student trustee handbook. They did deny adding the work groups into the handbook, which is a concern. So yeah, we're going to have to figure out some way to pass these on. Maybe I'll make a separate document and hopefully I can meet with whoever the next student trustee is. If they do end up not moving forward with adding it, it looks like it will be that way. So
Chair?
Recognized, go ahead.
Did they give a reason as to why they wouldn't, they didn't accept the work groups on the student trustee handbook?
they said because the work groups are not required for SAC to create, and that these work groups were established by this group, that they won't put on the next work because they won't put on the next handbook because it's not required. I don't know. I think they don't want to put too much on SAC's plate. Even when I introduced the idea when I first joined on as student trustee, they were kind of discouraging me, so I had to really advocate for that. So this is something Yeah, that's why I want to get on the next SAC agenda for us to extend it as soon as possible. Because I think that's important. And also, how long do we want to extend it for? Do we want to extend it for a year or 2 years? I don't know. So we'll see how that works out. So yeah, we're going to need a little bit of advocacy, whether or not it gets on the handbook specifically. I think that will be a struggle, and it might not happen. So we might have to create maybe a separate like packet, why work groups are important, that we make sure we get to the next student trustee. If any of you are planning on serving on next year's student government, maybe bring that up within those conversations in your local student government boards and saying, this is important, we need to advocate for this, we need to bring it up to the next SAC work group. That would always help. And I'll do everything I can. Hopefully I can meet with the next student trustee after they're elected and before my term ends, and I can talk to them about this. But yeah. All right. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna raise, I strongly agree that it needs to be advocated more to incorporate this into the SAC meeting. I completely agree. I'm wondering if we can even, if we can't get it on the SAC meeting, and as far as getting the next student trustee to push for it, then I wonder if we could possibly create committees through via student senate, you know what I'm saying, on each college, excuse me, have the Black Lives Matter task force created, and like I said, it's up to the president and the board, obviously, but if we can't get it on a district level, then maybe each campus can create one campus wide. I believe that it needs to be done. So that's just my personal belief. I know Caeb is more focused on clubs and events, and this is technically could be considered an event. So yeah. Does anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns?
Sure. Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello? Yeah, sorry.
ahead.
So, trustee Schiffmeyer, I think there's a legislative bill now for full trustee rights so that you can vote in board of trustees meetings.
Yeah, so recently it actually I work a little bit on the statewide level as well, and there's a lot of push to create that bill, and recently they were able to get a legislator to take on that issue. So yes, there is a bill on student trustee enfranchisement. I have to look into the details for the specifics, but yeah, the full vote, that is something I believe that is on it. Yeah, that's very exciting. In my position specifically, I have an advisory vote. So I do have some privileges that some other student trustees don't have. Some student trustees across the state don't even have an advisory vote. But this is really a push for a full vote. So that is very exciting. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't know a lot about it, I guess. And also, can you also answer questions on SSCC finances?
Oh, okay.
I had just heard that, I guess, especially with COVID, students struggling or opting out of the second dollar or or both dollars. And so, I mean, is money coming in?
Okay, so yes, money is coming in, but not as much as expected. So we were projecting an over $2 million budget, but it looks like we'll be right under the 1 million. So we are getting more because before we only had a little over 200,000. So it's still like quadrupled, but what we've been receiving, but it's not as much as we projected. They say it won't be an issue in later years. That is just this year because of COVID. So it shouldn't be an issue in future years. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. the SSCCC also has a board finance committee to talk about the budget today. So you can check that out if you want to join.
Thank you.
Awesome. Is there any more questions for Tony?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tony, I was hoping you could discuss a little bit about those two resolutions you have on the SSCCC General Assembly resolution packet.
Yes, so the first resolution I was the sole author for, and that's the affordable student housing resolution that I wrote. So basically, the resolutions, for those of you who don't know, these are resolutions that students write all across the state. You can be a regular student, you can be student leader, any California community college student. They write a resolution and they say, we want to make this a statewide priority for the SSCCC to take on and advocate for in the future. So the one of them that I wrote, the affordable student housing resolution, it is to basically say, SSCCC, please advocate for a legislative bill for the state to provide funding to build or provide affordable student housing for low-income students. So this is something that's needed, especially when it comes to basic needs. A lot of the problems, specifically in California, housing is so high, and it's very hard for students to be able to afford basic needs. So what this is asking is for the California community colleges to provide student housing and for the SSCCC to advocate for funding to be allocated for that. So if you're planning on going to GA, basically the resolutions, they come on the floor, and students, you basically jump in line to say, this is why I think this resolution is important. I think this year it will be a little different because we recently found out that we can put resolutions on the consent agenda. So that means that a bunch of resolutions will be put and they'll be all approved at once. If it's removed though, like a resolution is removed from the agenda, then students will debate that specific resolution. So if that resolution gets removed, then you can speak up in favor of it. And just talk about. And so, yeah, my resolution was sponsored by the SSCCC Board of Directors, and it was based on the consent agenda, so we'll be going forward. But that's a little bit about that resolution. The other resolution I wrote is the Disabled Student Awareness Resolution. So that one I wrote with another student from Region 4. Basically, it's to provide just more student resources for disabled students, just to increase awareness of some of the struggles they face and really advocate for opportunities for those students to be able to serve in student government. So Los Rios doesn't have this problem, but some students, some student governments, so there's a bare minimum in law of how many units you must be enrolled in to serve in student government. And that's a 2.0 GPA, 5 units. And that's a statewide requirement. However, some districts raise that requirement. So they say, well, we want the requirement to be 3.5 GPA. You can see how inequitable that would be. And for some students who who are in DSPS, I've heard that there have been some students who say you can't enroll in more than 5 units. And so if they're limited, like some students haven't been able to join their student government because the qualifications for DSPS and the qualifications for student government don't align. And so they say, I can't join there was a story by a student who said he couldn't join his student government because of that reason. So this aims to change the language in legislature to say that it says 2.0 GPA or its equivalent, so meaning anything higher, that be changed so that it makes it more equitable for students to join. So that's a little bit on that resolution. You can check out the new resolutions packet to read the exact language. But yeah, those are the 2 resolutions that I worked on for DA this year.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Sure.
For the DSPS thing, is that applicable to ARC in Los Rios? Because I myself am a DSPS student, and I'm in student senate, so.
Yeah, so this would
Yeah.
be a statewide advocacy change, so it would include Los Rios in that.
So I'm wondering, is this currently is this issue something that we're seeing at ARC, or is it like most other colleges?
That's a good question. Yeah, it's mostly other colleges, but I think it would apply to ARC as well, because we did talk about just general disabled student awareness and promoting disabled student awareness. I think one of those things that we added was requiring the SSCCC to hold an annual student awareness event to promote DSPS awareness. And so that is something that would involve ARC, also general trainings and that sort of thing. Yeah, there are parts of the resolution that apply ARC. Some of the other more, I guess, controversial parts, like the student government confliction of requirements, I think applies more to other colleges in the state, but there are parts of the resolution that apply ARC.
So the question I have is, I wonder if Caeb could get involved with USPS and try to create an event. I think that might be something that we could possibly discuss, Tony, if you want to, outside of this.
Yeah, of course. And this resolution is just telling the SSCCC advocate. So basically, SSCCC would take this resolution and then they'll start contacting colleges to do this. You don't need this resolution passed to get this started on your campus. So that's something you can just jump on. This is just to encourage more colleges to do it for those that aren't already doing it. But yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Chair.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
wait, go ahead and do Lori first and then Naomi.
Oh, sorry. I just had a question on the housing. So is the housing advocating low income housing on campus, like dorms?
On or off campus housing. So yeah, like dorms. And we made it specifically low income because when I was doing my research, there were some dorms that weren't really low income housing. They were just general dorms, like you go to four-year university, you find out that the housing is super expensive. We didn't want that to happen on our level, so I specified low income.
Okay, thank you.
Naomi.
okay. Is the also for the housing, is that something you're seeing at other community colleges in California? And is there any information as to how likely it is that, because I'm totally in fit, like it's something I've been interested in for a while in seeing in community colleges here. But I'm wondering, like, is there any legislature that's already being pushed on this, or any at least lawmaker that is interested in this issue?
Well, I think that's I don't think we're at that step yet. So this is just telling the SSCCC to advocate. So whoever's on the next board will take this and they will try to get a legislator on this issue. The reason why I wrote this resolution is because I didn't really see any long-term effective solutions to the housing problem we're seeing in California. I mean, we had AB 302 a couple, it might have been a year or two ago, where it would allow students to sleep in their cars while if they on college campuses to improve safety. And that one didn't go through, it failed. So like you can see, even some of the temporary solutions aren't working. Housing vouchers help, but they're really only temporary. So this is just to I want to see this become something that is actually advocated for. I've been bringing this up since I started in student government. got a little bit of pushback from some, but now we're seeing a trend to more people seeing this as something they want. So hopefully this passes, and I think there will be some pushback when this comes, but hopefully not. But we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so if we want to extend this, we need to make a motion real quick to extend this discussion because we're over time.
So moved.
We need an official appropriate.
Oh, a move to extend time in this issue by 10 minutes.
Second.
Seconded.
All right, so it's officially been moved by Lori, seconded by Naomi to extend this discussion by 10 minutes. Is there any objections? Okay, hearing
Is Mario waiting?
Mario's in the room, but you know, we just yeah, we do have another guest speaker, but go ahead. So it's been motion seconded, so we'll go ahead and move it for 10.
Okay. Are there any other questions, I guess, on this topic or other topics?
Are there any other GA resolutions that you would recommend supporting?
Oh, okay. I wasn't ready. Let me see. Yeah, you know, there are a lot of really great resolutions on this. I think, yeah. Oh,
You can get back
oh,
to us,
gosh.
I guess.
Yeah, I think I'll get back to you on that because I don't want to just throw random out because that's kind of an important question. But good question.
So
Yeah. Oh gosh, when is the next SAC meeting before GA? If not, then I'll just throw it on the SAC meeting agenda and we can talk about resolution.
can I say something?
Yeah.
Mark?
Please go ahead.
So Student Senate actually is having a special meeting today that is going over all of the resolution packet for the General Assembly, where we'll be discussing like how we want our delegate to vote.
Okay.
So that will be today at 5 p.m.
I see. Okay.
So yeah, Lori, if you
All
want
right.
more
I'll get
information there, you
yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll
okay.
get a list of recommendations over before your meeting at 5. I'll send that to Naomi.
Awesome, Tony. If you could CC me on that, that'd be amazing. Please.
Sounds good.
Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Tony, thank you very much for providing us that amazing information and updates. Look forward to extending the district task force and all the resolutions and stuff. All right, appreciate it, Tony. Thank you very much. So we'll go ahead and move back to the order of business to 10.1 financial aid workshop. This time shall be reserved to discuss the financial aid workshop presented by Mario Rodriguez. Mario, thank you very much. I did make you a host, so you could go ahead and share screen.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. Good to see you all again. It's really nice to be here. Thanks. I'm going to be sharing like quick financial aid 101. If you have any questions about like your FAFSA, your California Dream Act, you can just like send me a message. But for today's purposes, I'm going to keep it very general. But I wanted to just kind of give you an overview. Hopefully you all know and you've already completed your FAFSA or your California Dream Act. So hopefully I'm just giving you a quick reminder and you're not like trying to get that done. The deadline is going to be March 2nd. But hopefully all of you already applied for your aid, federal or state aid that's possible. So I'm gonna give you a quick overview of the financial aid process. It's definitely a lot of components to it, and sometimes it's like getting one wrong information can derail all of your award as well. So really quickly, like financial aid is really important because one, it helps you fund your college education, and it is also another way to, you know, get you closer to that goal, which is hopefully get your associates, your bachelor's, your master's, or your doctorate degree. Before I begin, I always tell and ask students, like, you know, why is it that you're getting your education at ARC? So for some of you, like, what is it? What, maybe if I can hear from one or two people, like, what's your end goal? Like, where do you want to end up? Like, for example, I share this spectrum. This is from the US Bureau Census. This is a student who graduates with their bachelor's degree, their first job. They on average make $48,100. So for some of you, what's your end goal after you finish ARC, like educational wise? It could be anybody. Like where do you want to pursue? Like after this, do you want to like go get a bachelor's and then go all the way to a doctorate? Like what is your educational goal?
I'll answer that. So my educational goal is to get my doctorates, my PhD in marketing. Has always been my end goal. Anybody else?
Yeah, I can go. I also would like to work towards a doctorate. I'm more on the fence on that. But I don't know if when you say end goal, if you're talking about career, I would like to work in environmental politics.
Awesome. And the reason I ask is a lot of the times, like when we finish pursuing like education, like we don't know where we're going to be at salary wise. So I add this to include it. So like that could be like not that money is like the end all be all, but like say for example, for both of you, Naomi and Mark, if you get your doctorate, on average, someone who has their doctorate, according to the U.S. Census, makes $80,780, right? So think of it of like investing in your future, which is what hopefully with the financial aid that you receive, you'll be able to invest in your education. So I tell people all the time, so say I get my bachelor's and I'm making $48,000, but then I, get financial aid and I'm able to get a doctorate for $80,000. If from a bachelor's to a doctorate is almost like $32,000 jump. So if I invest in my doctorate, 32,000 times like say 4 years, I'm going to be making salary wise over the next 4 years, $128,000 more if I kind of invest. So I wanted to put that out there because a lot of the times like, they're like, well, I'll just, finish my high school diploma at 27,000. But say if you got your bachelor's, you could be making almost $21,000 more on average, like depending on your occupation. So I wanted to put that out there just because a lot of the times people don't know what the benefit of education is. But and I put this especially for my high school students who, when I go out and present at the high school, they're like, oh, you make that much money if you make for a bachelor's. But in reality, $48,000 for us that are in the working field, we're like, that's not enough, right? So for high school students, $48,000 and $58,000 is a lot of money for them. So today we're going to learn about the applications, the types of applications, the different types of financial aid, and the available resources that are out there. So obviously you all work with FERPA, so just know that I'm not allowed as working in the financial aid office to share any of your information without your consent. Even if it's like your partner or your legal guardian, I can't share that or disclose that. We're very strict in financial aid. So even if I don't, to verify your identification, we have a security pin that you need in order for us to have access to share that information with you. So if Lori were to call the financial aid office and they haven't discussed anything with Lori needs to give us a security pin via email or over the phone in order for us to authorize any type of information to be disseminated. So that's something a lot of people don't know in financial aid world, is we're very, very strict with how we share information. And it's for a lot of reasons. So we have the application for next year, hopefully, because all of you applied for already for this year, hopefully. If you didn't, you can still apply for the DREAM Act, the FAFSA, the web grant for students, which verifies your GPA that determines your Cal Grant eligibility. So you can get a Cal Grant A, B, or C, or Cal Grants for the state aid. And the BOG waiver is now known as a California College Promise Grant. So it gives you free tuition. So we encourage students to apply for the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act so you can see if you qualify for the BOG waiver. So who files a FAFSA, which is a federal application? If you are have a social security number and you're a US citizen, or you're an eligible non-citizen, which is having a green card. If you file FAFSA, it's okay if your parents don't have a social security number, but you must have a social security number and be a US citizen or have a green card in order to apply for FAFSA. For the California Dream Act, it's for undocumented students or someone who has AB 540, AB 2000, or SB 68. And it's okay if you, the student, or the parents don't have a social security number. Well, you're probably asking, what's the AB 540, the AB 2000, and the SB 68? So it's this application that you can get on the website from Admissions and Records, and it's for any student that you all have that could be part of like yourselves or your club, that you could tell them to access this AB 540 form, which is a California non-residential tuition exemption, which would give them, if they're approved, in-state tuition. Does anyone know how much in-state tuition is per unit?
The 47.
$46 currently. Yeah, you're super close. Out-of-state students pay $353. So an undocumented student who can't claim residency. So that's like a ridiculous amount of number for one unit. So we're asking all of our AB 540, AB 2000, SB 68 students to try to fill this out. There's a specific criteria. So, you know, having to attend high school for 3 years. So there's the different sections, columns A and B, that gives you different scenarios that you can check off to show, and then you have to show verified proof that you that basically you have been living in California. $11 at Sierra. Wow.
A long time ago.
Wow.
When someone on this call was going to Sierra College, put it that way.
Wow. So it's gone up. So then you'll list the names of the schools you've attended to, and please include the dates and times and how many credits you got. Like this will determine if you get approved for in-state tuition or not. Like it's better for you to overshare. So the elementaries, the middle school, the high school, adult schools you've attended. Community college is now also a form of you to show residency. So please submit this. You'll fill it out to Admissions and Records. Hopefully you get approved, and so you can get the in-state tuition. If you get denied, please appeal. I tell people working in this financial aid realm is sometimes we might miss something in your financial aid application, like a form, or maybe you filed taxes for 2017 instead of 2018, or we didn't get your dependency form. So always appeal the process, because maybe you just missed an item. When you appeal, that just means that we have to take a look at it again. So please make sure that you, for yourselves or for any student, that they get the in-state tuition. Like there's so many different ways that they can qualify for it as well. So the deadline is October 1st when the FAFSA and the California Dream Act are available. And the reason why I'm presenting to you all today is to remind you all that you still need to file FAFSA. A lot of people are like, I already filed it my first year here. You don't automatically get the same aid every year. You have to apply for it. You have to show us your need. It's called the EFC, which is expected family contribution, and that determines how much money you'll be getting for the year. Right now, because we're in COVID, you can also submit additional supplement documentation to your financial aid officer to be able to say that there's a special need. One of the questions also on the financial aid talks about foster youth as well as becoming homeless. So like when you click your application, there's something that there might be additional aid for homeless students or foster youth that you might qualify, that you maybe didn't know that you were under foster youth. Like maybe you found out that you were there for like when you were like 10 years old or whatnot. So, and there's different things that you can show as your documentation. And there's also special grants and scholarships for foster youth as well. So there's just so many different things. Like I've just been in this role since December, and I'm like, there's a scholarship for this, there's a scholarship for that. And it's all grant money. So you all know grant means free money. That means you don't have to pay it back. Even if it's a one-time $300, you can apply for that. So I'm going to tell you about that. So the types of financial aid, there's federal funding and state funding. If you apply for FAFSA, which is the federal grant, you can qualify for that, but you can also qualify for state aid. If you qualify for the California Dream Act, you are only getting state aid. So some of you might get the Pell Grant. Our campus is very high on the Pell Grant, so a lot of our students get Pell Grants. So you can get between $569 to $3,173 per semester. And also, obviously, it depends if you're full-time versus part-time and how many units you're taking. But that's $3,000 that you can pay for your tuition, housing, your UTP sticker, food, paying for books and whatnot. Then you can obviously get the direct loans. I'm not going to focus on loans today, but you can get subsidized and unsubsidized loans, which is also, if you apply for FAFSA, you can qualify for loans as well. I always say, you know, with loans, I never got loans until my books got expensive when I went to college. When I was taking my first 2 years in college, my books were like $100, $250 max. When I got into my business courses, those books were like $400, $500. So then that's where I didn't have enough financial aid, that I did take some loans out. We also have the Federal Supplement Educational Opportunity Grant, which is $300 you can get each semester. And again, this is based off you filing the FAFSA, and then federal work study. So hopefully all of you know what federal work study is. So that means that you can work for an on-campus office, and the salary comes out of federal funding instead of the department itself. So I share this because when I was in college, I didn't know what federal work study was. So I went into the financial aid office as a sophomore in college asking for my $6,000. And they were like, well, you need to work for it. So I didn't know I had to work on campus because I was working full-time off campus. So I got a job at the Career Center to get my money. And I talked to my supervisor, and she was able to have me work maximum 20 hours each week so I could get that financial aid as soon as possible so I can pay for my books for summer school and for fall. So I wanted to put it out there. If you're like wondering if you qualify for federal work study, check your financial aid letter on e-services. So you can check to see if you qualify, and then ask if the office is hiring work study students, so you can kind of get that process. And we have someone in the office that can help you with that process. If you don't claim it, you will lose it. And the student, if you don't claim it, someone will give it to someone else. So if Brett says doesn't reply back to his work study, we'll give it to Tony, who's requested for work aid. So it's a first come, first served basis. So please check it out. And you can get up to $2,400 a year from federal work study, max at the community college. So some state aid, instead of Cal Grant A, B, or C, some of you might be getting that. Cal Grant A is reserved for four-year institutions, but you can qualify for Cal Grant B and C. I did not put those. It's federal funding and state funding, but for state government, you can use the a Cal Grant up to $836 if you apply for the California Dream Act. That's some state aid that's available. For a student, there are other aid, that state aid is a student success completion grant. So for that one, you have to be a full-time student. If you take 12 to 14.99 units, you can get up to $649 per semester. If you take 15 or plus units, you could get $2,000 each semester. And then we have the California Promise Grant, which some of you might be familiar, which was known as a BOG waiver, and that issues you free tuition. Another type of help that's available that we're not discussing, since I don't think all of you are high school students, is the California Promise Grant, which gives you free tuition for the first 2 years if you're a California resident. You also have to be full-time and take them in, and the first time being in Los Rios. So that's another additional aid for high school students that I usually bring up. So you might be getting the California Promise Grant, but you need to maintain your GPA. This is one of the biggest things that I'll be working on after I finish this, apply for FAFSA, which is appealing for your student satisfaction. We have a lot of students that fall below a 2.0 GPA, and they need to appeal to get their financial aid. It happens so many times that, you know, people have a slip for one semester and fall below a 2.0, and then they need to apply and appeal to make sure they're in good standing for financial aid. You also need to make sure you have a cumulative completion of 50%. So if you take 12 units, you need to pass at least 6 units to maintain your California Promise Grant. For financial aid purposes, each term, you need to have an overall GPA of a 2.0. So it can't fall below a 2.0, and if you're getting grants and loans to stay in good academic standing. And each term, you need to complete a minimum of 66.6% of completion for financial aid. So it's a little bit tougher than when you're getting the Promise Grant. When you're getting the Promise Grant, it's 50%, but then because it's federal or state aid, you have to pass 66.67. So that means that out of 12 units, you need to pass minimum, I believe it's like 8 units in order for you to complete that 9 units in order for you to complete the 66.67. And we get this, that happens a lot. So students will say, oh, well, why am I not getting financial aid? Well, one of the biggest reasons is because your unit program was 60 units and you've exceeded the 150% program completion, which means that you just took classes that weren't towards your program and now you went over. So then now you have 90 units, but you haven't completed your program. So you're gonna have to appeal to receive additional financial aid. So make sure that your classes that you're taking actually go towards your program that you're completing, because you don't want to lose the financial aid that you have, because sometimes it's very limiting. And that pot of money that you're using to allocate can tap into less money that you have when you transfer to a 4-year school, right? So if you only get, like, say, a Cal Grant B, for example, you only get it for 4 years. So if you stay at Los Rios and tap into that money for 3 years, then you're only going to have 1 year of that money available at the 4-year school. So please be mindful of it. Just because I wouldn't want you to spend all your money at the community college and then you have nothing for the 4-year school. Everybody always asks us, like, I've contacted the financial aid, a lot of the times, how do I go ahead and, hear back from them? It's really hard to get a hold of a financial aid officer because there's 30,000 students and most of our students apply for FAFSA or California Dream Act, so they have to award everybody's letter. What we always tell students to do is check your to-do list. So maybe you submitted your FAFSA or your California Dream Act, but you didn't submit the proper tax forms. On the to-do list, you're gonna get a notification saying that you need to submit this documentation. This is what it looks like. It's a task that will tell you everything that is required. Then once you submit that, then we can finish off your award letter or follow the documentation, because the financial aid officers need to package everything based off all the information and they need to verify things. So maybe you need to appeal for your financial aid because you fell below a 2.0 GPA. Before we could award you the financial aid package, we need to make sure you did appeal and that you got approved in order for us to give you that financial aid package. So just keep that in mind. It's like a domino effect. If you don't check your to-do list and submit the stuff that we need, we can complete the award to send it to you to check to see if it's okay or if you need verifications. Then you'll go to the message center, and that's where you check your messages to make sure that everything was received, or that we don't need anything. Hopefully it's clear. But some of the reminders in this message that'll include is, oh, unfortunately, you're ineligible for this program because of the major. Courses were not accepted because that was maybe your program that you were part of, but maybe you changed your major. The bank mobile refund card, hopefully all of you get a little bank mobile card to get actual money back as a refund. And then other respondents to financial aid officers, so like the student action request, so like the appeals, the information that's needed or incomplete files, we're gonna send you a message there. It's never gonna be a call because we need to verify, but we know if we use your e-services, we'll send it there first. So financial aid, everybody always asks, I've submitted my letter, but I don't know where to look for my aid. Go under e-services under financial aid, click the year. I would say most of our students file for the wrong FAFSA. So 2021 is our current academic year. If you're applying for fall 2021, which is for next semester, you're gonna click 2021, 2022. So make sure you apply for that FAFSA year, and then you'll be able to accept or decline all your grants, scholarships, your loans that you have. And then under disbursements, it'll tell you exactly when you would be potentially getting a disbursement and what amount. And then the financial aid course eligibility of the courses that you can take. So that's where you check off for your award letter. Then how you receive your money, your refund check will come in 3 different ways. You're gonna get a personal email. And what you'll do is if you receive your refund check kit, make sure you enter your personal code and select how you want to receive your money. So the options are we mail you a check, the bank mobile will send you a check, a direct deposit into your account, so your Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or you have a bank mobile account and it goes directly deposited in there. If you never received your refund kit, you can go to the business services office to request an instant personal code. And if you already have an activated account but you can't access it, you can call the 1-877 number 327-9515 or go on the link. So that way you can reactivate your code. And then you'll get an email telling you how you want to get your money dispersed in the message center. And again, March 2nd is the deadline. So today is what, February 23rd? So you still have about a week to submit your FAFSA. Please don't wait till the last minute because there's limited types of funding that are based off the date that you submit your application. So maybe if you qualify for work study, the sooner you submit it, the more money you might be able to get. Same thing for grants and scholarships. These are the contact information of the numbers you can reach. So the Department of Education for FAFSA, if you're doing the California DREAM Act, it's the California Student Aid Commission. Web grants for students, please, I'll send this to Mark so he can send it out just because I can't. Actually, let me see, I might be able to. Yeah, I could actually. So I'm gonna put this in the chat so you're able to look at the, there's different types of scholarships that are offered. So I wanna make sure that you all know of those scholarships. Also, Los Rios has scholarships, so please apply. Those are also due in March. I believe it's March 3rd. So please submit your information so that way you can get the scholarship. There's so many different scholarships that are out there, but so many times students forget to apply. And then we have the National Student Loan Database to keep track of like all the student loans that you have, the number to bank mobile, and our financial aid office. When you leave a voicemail for financial aid, please leave your security PIN and your W number so we know that we can verify your information. And then this is the information for student aid. And then next I'm gonna go over scholarships real quickly. Just, I know you all will look, but I wanna make sure you all are familiar with our ARC website. In case you have any questions, the website has been probably like my best friend right now. Everybody's really busy in the financial aid office. So I've been getting a lot of my answers from the website. And I believe it's updated. Of course. All right, so I'm gonna pop my screen up again. And then if you have any questions, I'm almost done with the presentation, so feel free to. So our financial aid, you're able to see the different types of aid that's available. One thing I did want to talk about is the CARE Act and the HEERF grants. These are one-time loans, especially right now that we're in COVID, that you could apply. So these are emergency grants for you to be able to apply for. So it's on our website. So make sure that you're able to apply for some type of funding. It's $100 to like $300. So it's not or 400. So it's not a lot, but it's something that you can utilize. So you would apply here and it shows you the requirements. So that's under the CARES Act. So you can look at that. And then as far as aid type, I'm going to take you all to scholarships. So we have different types of aid, like I mentioned to you in the presentation. But we have a specific one for scholarships. So if you're LGBT, gender-based scholarships, everything is broken down to AB 540, agricultural. There's gender-specific scholarships, and there's a whole list of them you can apply for. In addition to all those STEM scholarships, multicultural scholarships are all available. In addition to that, if you go to the Los Rios scholarship application, we have, I believe it's over like $30,000 worth of scholarships, and there's different grants. So the deadline is actually March 5th. So for example, this one is a ARCAUW Woodland. You get $1,000, and the requirements for this is, are you enrolled in a health technology and medical assistant program, and are you a resident of Woodland or Yolo County? Those are the two supplemental questions that you'll need to answer. And then you need to be enrolled in at least 6 units and a minimum of 2.0 GPA, and they're awarding $1,000. So there's scholarships for everything. So click through this. There's a scholarship for you. So it'll tell you exactly what you need to do to apply. And then it'll ask for like references and whatnot. So it'll ask you, take you step by step of what you need to do. Did anyone apply for any of these scholarships this year yet? By a show of like hands. Okay, cool. Good. So some of you did. So please take advantage of it. This is like free money, like that's out there as well. So take advantage of that. It's actually 175 scholarships totaling $200,000.
Hey Mario, can I
Yeah.
interrupt you real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
It's my cheap plug for a scholarship. So some of you may know, I lost my brother-in-law about a year and a half ago, and we created a scholarship. So for $500. So for anything in animation, design tech, or I'm totally blanking out, video game design. That was his thing. He loved video games. So cheap plug, it's the Stephen Lovett Memorial Scholarship. If you're interested, apply for it.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, so there's tons of resources out there. You know, one of the cool things about my job is I get to go into other clubs and organizations if you need me to go in classrooms to tell students to remind them to apply for financial aid. Like there's all this aid money that's out there. We can't issue it to you unless we know there's a need, right? Like, so even for like Chromebooks, we're asking like, please file your FAFSA and California Dream Act. So we know the needs of the students. So if you have any students that you're like, ask them, have you applied for FAFSA and California Dream Act? Currently, we're still working on this year. So if you're a first year student, we don't really issue award letters for first year students coming to ARC till later down the road, because we're still awarding even after the semester has started. Some students are just applying for FAFSA and California Dream Act. So like next week, I have about 2,000 students I need to call and email to remind them, hey, we noticed that you're enrolled in classes, but you haven't received any type of financial aid. We might have some available. How can, I help you support that? So right now I'm working a lot with helping students file their California Dream Act. There is also workshops, Cash for Colleges, that does workshops to help you apply for your FAFSA or your California Dream Act as well. Any questions? That's kind of like usually my 20-minute spiel. So I'm glad I finished it in, almost 20 minutes. But after that, then I usually like break up and go into like applying for the FAFSA and the California Dream Act to really like have some guiding questions. One of the biggest misconceptions is people that think they're independent have to actually still show their parents or their legal guardians information. So make sure that when you apply for FAFSA or California Dream Act, you don't have to submit your parents' information if you're considered independent. So some ways to be independent is maybe you're married and you're head of household, maybe you have kids, maybe you're over the age, I believe it's 25 now. Maybe you are independent, you're part of the foster care system, so you don't have parents. If your parents are out of state or out of the country, but you're still dependent under them, you still need to have them file. If they're not going to file on the FAFSA or the California Dream Act, there is a threshold which says if you're single under 65, if the person makes less than $12,000, then they don't need to file, but you still need to put in their income of what they make. All of this is really important. Other things is if your parents are split or divorced, you just put the amount of that the parent that provides more and that you live with the most. So if your parents are split up, you don't have to put both of them. You might just have to claim one. Make sure that you have a legal guardian. Sometimes people think, oh, well, I live with my girlfriend. My girlfriend's my legal guardian, or my partner, or whatnot, or my aunt or my grandparents. But if they did not adopt you, they're not your legal guardians according to FAFSA or the California Dream Act. It has to be someone that adopted you legally through the court system. So those are some things to consider, and make sure you apply for the right year. You can still apply for FAFSA or California Dream Act for this year if you still have some outstanding bills that you might need to pay and consider. And that's kind of like in a nutshell. Like I said, I'm not going to go over step by step. It is 100 questions. Currently, there's a bill and something that's being passed to make the financial aid, FAFSA, and the California Dream Act be reduced in questions. So instead of being like 100 questions, they're trying to pass like a policy where they're reducing the amount of questions that are being asked. So please go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to put in the link, the web grant information, which can give you additional scholarships that are available as well. Any questions? Hopefully I didn't go too fast.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to transfer, my plan is to transfer after the semester. I'm wondering, is it still like, should I be thinking about applying to FAFSA still?
Definitely. So especially for next, wait, you're thinking like of next year as in like for spring?
Fall 2021.
Okay, yeah. So you should be applying now for fall 2021. And I'm glad you mentioned that actually. I forgot to say is when you apply for your FAFSA, I know some of you are in that limbo that you might be transferring. Please apply to, if you're planning to go out of state, at least pick one California school so you can see how much aid you're gonna get in state versus out of state. So other schools do offer out of state tuition. So you might have to see that there's a higher price, but yes, Naomi, you should definitely start applying now because you want to see maybe how much financial aid you're going to be getting for next year. And then I would say, like, if you still don't know if you're going to be going to a private school, UC, or a Cal State, apply for all of them. So that way you know what financial aid package you're going to get. A lot of the times we get students that are like, no, I'm going to go to UC Berkeley or I'm going to go to UC Davis. And they didn't get into any of the UC schools. So now they don't know what a Cal State or a private school award letter would look like. You actually have up to 10 schools you could submit when you file your FAFSA. So I tell students, like, maybe you really want to go to like a private school, like University of Laverne or University of San Diego, apply for them so you can see what type of aid you get with those schools versus if you were to apply for a CSU or a UC. But yeah, if right now the applications for FAFSA for next year is for fall 2021 and spring 2022. I would say the earlier you get in, the better. You can always defer your financial aid, but it's better for you to receive it and do it before the March 2nd deadline instead of submitting it after and there might not be as much funding available because you waited till the last minute. And every campus has their own little scholarships here and there. So every school will be very different. So that's the important part of applying for FAFSA, that once you apply, so I'll give you an example. When I went to college, I got my Cal Grant A for $10,000, but because of my expected family contribution, my college, my private school that I went to gave me another $10,000 to match up my Cal Grant A. So I received $20,000 in aid my first year of college, but it was only for the first year. Then the second year, I lost that $10,000 scholarship because it was the first time enrolled in college application fee. So then I had to apply for other scholarships as well. Any other questions? They're all good questions. Like, I know we don't talk about financial aid, so there's a lot of, like, oh, I don't know this and I don't know that. So I tell people I'm the financial aid officer outreach person. So I will cheer you on and help you as much as I can to apply. I don't do the awarding, so I don't see your award letter. I don't see how much expected family contribution. I don't see any of that stuff right now. I'm really focused on making sure you all apply and feel that you have the maximum amount of money you need to be successful in college.
Chair?
Go ahead.
Mario, can you come present at club meetings, or do you have other general presentations that we can attend?
Yeah, so on March 1st, since it's the day before, I know there's a lot of procrastination. I'll be doing this, though, going more into detail about like the commonly financial aid in California Dream Act. So on March 1st, I could send you an email. I'll be presenting basically all day. And the reason why is I remember when I was in college, I also waited till the last minute my sophomore year to complete my FAFSA the day before. So I'll be on kind of helping students with the workshops to be able to do that. But yes, I could come to your club meeting. Just hopefully it matches up during the time that I'm free and available. But yeah, I could come in just to do a quick financial aid 101.
Well, we meet today at 12:30, but it's every Tuesday, 12:30 to 1:30.
Send me an email, and I can't this Tuesday because I have a meeting after this, but I can plan it in advance. And I don't have a standing meeting on Tuesdays, so it could maybe be next Tuesday. Oh, which would be, yeah. Well, I mean, it'll probably be the deadline, but you could just tell people to make sure they apply, and maybe if they have any questions, I can maybe do next Tuesday. But send me an email, Lori, so I can check my calendar.
Okay. So is your email the same?
Yeah, it's the same, the ROD. I'll put it in the chat just in case any of you have any questions, you can email me. So if it's a specific question, I defer it to our financial aid officers. But if it's something general that I can answer, I can definitely try to answer the best of my ability. Any other
Thank you.
comments or questions? And then I'll put in the link one more time, the scholarships, so you can apply for scholarships. Please take advantage of them. We need to make sure that all that money is being, awarded to you all. Well, thanks for your time. I know financial aid is such an amazing topic to discuss, Trust me, I'm like coming from CLD, Sis Boom Bob programs and events to doing financial aid, talking about finances is not always everybody's favorite cup of tea to discuss. So I'm trying to make it as lively as I can, but
It's Chair. Mark.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. I just was going to say on Mario's point, it's also very important, right? And it's so complex. But I don't think any students are living in mansions in $1 million whatever. So everyone needs to know how this works. So, thank you for breaking it down and making it make more sense. I work at the college. I've been here 5 years, and some of the stuff I'm like, I don't know. So
yeah, and we're very based off this like FAFSA California Dream Act, because that is what's going to determine the need. Unfortunately, like I wish I could sit here and tell you like, oh yeah, just go up to someone, but they're always going to look at your EFC, which is your expected family contribution, to make a determination if one, you could be part of this program and whatnot, the resources that you need. So please just apply so you have a better safe net when you're asking for resources. And then also if you're planning on transferring, it gives you a good opportunity for you to say, you have to approve and deny all aid anyways. So we're not just gonna automatically give you a promise grant, you need to accept it. So keep that in mind. And be your own advocates the same way you are for your clubs and orgs for your financial aid that you have. Advocate for it, appeal for it. If you get denied, then that's why there's an appeal process. That's the beauty of it. I tell students, like, it's your student advocacy. So advocate for that, and you need to fight for it. Don't just give up at the first time.
Can I just jump in, Mark? We have 3
Please.
minutes left for the meeting.
Yeah, I was just gonna say something, but go ahead. If somebody wants to make an motion to extend the meeting.
I actually cannot stay any longer.
I just have a question. I
But-
thought we were having today training for Booth Central.
Awesome, sorry, I had a connection interruption. Did somebody motion and second it?
No, I said I thought today we were having training for Booth Central.
No, that's not actually today, because we're still waiting for BSO to finalize it. So that's gonna have to get postponed. Sorry.
Is that next week?
Mark,
Yes.
so I just have to leave because I've got the Model United Nations meeting in a few minutes. But Lori, I don't think it's going to be next week. I think it's really dependent on when, like Mark said, when we get the response from the BSO.
Do we know when Booth Central is?
So let me hop in there real quick. We're running out of time, and I also have a meeting at 12. The invoice has been processed, but because everything's remote, right? They got to issue a check. It's got to get mailed. It's got to get to the vendor. So we just don't know when the vendor's going to get paid. So that's what we're waiting on. Booth Central is the vendor. The event is Virtual Club Day, right? Or Virtual Welcome Day. But when we say Booth Central, it's how to learn that platform to have a Virtual Club Day.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm back. I had some connection issues.
So I thought Booth Central was, or whatever, Virtual Club Day was this Thursday, the 25th, no?
So no, so let me go ahead and re-advise everybody. So we're waiting for BSO. We're waiting for BSO to go ahead and pay Booth Central. We were hoping that it would be done by then in order to go ahead and give everybody an update and training on how to utilize Boot Central. But unfortunately, that BSO has not sent them a payment, correct, Brett?
So it's been processed. I need to follow up and see like what the check number is, if it's been issued. But last I talked to them, that I hadn't got anything back, that it got rejected or I needed to do something else. So,
okay.
I think you broke up, but everything's being remote. It's not like I can just walk down to the business office and be like, "Yo, what's the check number?" It's
right.
It's just
so
the reality we're living in.
What I do know for sure that give it adequate amount of time is March 18th. I can go ahead and give you guys a real quick update because I know certain people have to leave and stuff like that. March 18th is set in stone. That's when we're going to have the first official event. So the one that was supposed to happen this Thursday is not going to happen. I was actually getting ready to send an email out. So Lori, if you want to provide your club and anybody else, then please do. But like Brett was just stating that, it's not like we can just walk over to BSO. We have to wait for a response from them. So, but yeah, I know we'll find out for sure. But I'm assuming hopefully by then it'll be March 18th will be, definitely enough time to get training out, so like that. As far as getting training, I wanted to go do it this week. So like I said, I'm going to be reaching out to Boot Central today to see if they've received it and go from there.
Mark, real quick, because I got to run.
Yes.
Can you ask, like, while the check is pending, if they'll still walk you through some stuff, or do they have to like formally wait until they have a check deposited in whatever account they use?
I'll check on that. Like I said, I'll call my contact. As soon as I hang up from here, I'll go ahead and reach out to her and find out.
Sure. Just throw the mercy of the court on, like, we're trying, right? It's just the reality we have right now.
They'll be able to, Mark, give you a demo. They'll just give you a demo of like what the process looks like, so you're able to figure it out. Because they gave me a free demo before I even was like, oh, we're interested. So yeah, they should give you a free demo.
All right, cool, Mario. Thank you very much. All right, so then we'll go ahead and Mario, thank you again. Sorry, everything has to get cut short, but I appreciate your workshop. It's amazing. Thank you for all the valuable information. There was some stuff that I didn't know, and I'm pretty sure there's some stuff that other people didn't know as well. So thank you for sharing how to get scholarships and all the available resources for financial aid. All right, so go ahead. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on real quick to committee reports. Time reserved for committee chairs to provide the board